Good morning, traders. So sorry here, just a bit late. Was just helping out a customer last minute, trying to get him up and running here. Anyway, welcome to the Bookmap Platform Details webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap, and I think you can see my screen and hear me. Yep, looks good, I believe. Oh, good morning, Marvino. All right, well, let's get started. Okay, so the goal of the webinar here is to introduce you to Bookmap, to define what it is, who uses it, what kind of traders, how to connect it to the markets, how to subscribe to it, and then we'll look at some Bookmap resources for education, your basic education, and then we'll look at the live market using Bookmap. Now, this is kind of the basic education that comes with it. There is advanced education as well. That's for the subscribers. They've moved beyond the basics. They want much more in-depth information on order flow, and we offer that for those who are serious about it. So there's a 4-part educational course that you get access to, and then you also get the access to the advanced order flow webinars. They start every day at 11 a.m. Eastern. Okay, so in about 25 minutes. And in those webinars, we really go through the details, and it's based on the course content as well. So you can understand and see what that material looks like in the live environment. And then based on our process of reading the order flow, you can start to anticipate where price might go. Therefore, you can start to weave this into the way that you trade. Okay, so that's the concept there. Let's see here. Risk disclaimer. Trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let's jump into bookmap.com, and we'll go through this rather quickly here. What is Bookmap? We're a software trading platform. We have a unique way of visualizing the market data. That's the advantage you get with Bookmap. Who is it for? Day traders, scalpers, swing traders, and quants. We developed it for sub-second levels, but it works and is very useful on much higher time frames as well. And we'll show you several examples today. So even position traders are interested in understanding the order flow when they're making their trading decisions. Okay, off a daily chart. In fact, we've been looking at the daily charts for several weeks now due to the volatility. We've had to. And we want to see what the order flow looks like on those daily charts. Okay, let's continue on. Connectivity. Bookmap connects to the futures, equities, and digital currency markets. The data for the digital currency markets is free, so there's no, you don't need to provide that data. But we're not a data provider, nor are we a broker. So for futures and for US equities, you will need to provide the data. This is pretty typical since we're not a broker. So the way that you'll connect for US equities is with DXFeed. So if you're interested in the equities trading, what you need to do first is subscribe to Bookmap. And then next, subscribe to DXFeed. Okay, that will be required. For futures, you have a variety of ways of connecting. You have Rhythmic, CQG, Gain Capital, Transact, IQ Feed, Nanotick, and Cedro. We also connect via the API of 3 different platforms: TTX Trader Pro, Ninja 7 and 8, and Interactive Brokers Traders Workstation. You can go that route. We recommend bypassing their API completely. Don't go through their program. You'll just get cleaner data if you go directly with the data provider like Rhythmic or CQG. All right, let's go through how you can subscribe to Bookmap. Pricing and packages. Okay, so you can subscribe monthly here, yearly, or for lifetime, and you can see the updated prices down below. You get a 20% discount yearly, and lifetime, of course, would be the best deal overall. Monthly prices are here, and you can see the different versions of Bookmap. Okay, digital, and then global and global plus. So the digital version is free. It only allows you connection to one digital currency at a time. You also get a delayed US equities feed, and you can replay a downloaded futures file if you want, if you're a futures trader. However, for those that want access to the live markets, then I would recommend going with the global version. Okay, just try it for a month, and you can cancel at any time. You still get it for the month, and see if Bookmap works for you in that live environment, and give it a shot. Okay, so the Global Plus version here, the difference between the two is the add-on indicators. Okay, there's a large lot tracker, iceberg detector, imbalance indicators, correlation tracker, etc. And we're adding more and more of those as time goes by here. We'll have some more as well due to our new Bookmap API. Okay, we're opening up the architecture, and you can develop basically anything you like. So anyway, these are the proprietary indicators that we developed. You get access to with Global Plus. We look at very specific things in the order flow, like our iceberg detector. Our algo can detect when iceberg orders are being hit. Okay, we actually have two different ways of detecting it. And you want to know this information because these are larger players who are hiding their orders. And you want to know what that kind of behavior is, who they are, and who you're dealing with exactly. All right, let's continue on. Some other resources to go through is the blog up here, and click on that. And you'll see all sorts of articles here. There's references to different resources, information, for example, here on BitMEX, and several interviews with professional traders here. Okay, we'll go to our Twitter feed as well, and there's all sorts of stuff here, usually every day, that could be trades, it could be videos, it could be here's an interview with Futures Trader 71 that we had a little while ago, and all sorts of stuff. So you might want to follow us on Twitter to get the most or latest update, and then YouTube channel. Okay, so you can see our Pro Trader webinar videos here are listed. We have intro videos here if you're new, but I would recommend watching these order flow video order flow education videos here. These go through what you gain as an advantage in Bookmap. Understanding the order flow here, visualized in a very unique way. That's really the edge here. Okay, so these are really interesting videos. They're very short, but they go through order flow phenomena that Bookmap can uncover. So take a look at some of these. This is what we go through in detail in the advanced order flow webinars. Okay, and then features and components. If you guys have questions about things, there's all sorts of new videos that have been listed here in the features and components playlist. So watch that. And then there's some selected webinars here for equities and our advanced order flow webinars here as well, if you want to get kind of a peek into our educational process. Now, we also open this up, that advanced order flow webinar on Friday. So come on Friday to this basics webinar here, and I will give out the link to the advanced order flow webinar. All right, let's jump into Bookmap and see what's going on here. All right, now, for those of you who are new, looking at this chart here, you're probably looking at it and thinking, what is this? I've never seen anything like it. It looks very complex. It's actually the opposite. It's really straightforward data. There's nothing being disguised here. It's very, very transparent. There's only 3 elements on this chart. We just have a unique way of visualizing those elements. One element is best bid and offer. And then you can see these volume dots here. These are transactions that have taken place on that best bid and offer. Make the dot size a little bit less. And then that third element is this heat map, this orange, yellow, reddish blue heat map. Okay, the heat map, all it is a recording of your depth of market, your DOM. Okay, so let's zoom in here and let's go through that first. Okay, in fact, there is a new video here. If you guys want some more information on this, so click on the YouTube page, click on Features and Components here. okay? And then scroll down to the bottom, and here's heat map and settings. All right, so you can watch that if you'd like a little more information here on the heat map. Okay, so what are we displaying in the heat map? All right, well, this vertical white line here divides the historical market here to the left. This is what has just occurred. And then the current market here to the right. This is what is occurring right now in the market. This number is the last traded volume. This is our price ladder here. Okay, and then these numbers here in the COB column, it stands for current order book. These are contracts. This is liquidity. These are sellers with limit orders at these specific price levels where they want to sell. This is where they're dealing. Down below current price, this is where they want to be buyers. Okay, this is the current auction. Now you can see very high liquidity here down at this 27.50. Okay, we have like about 800 contracts there. Okay, well, that area is painted here in the heat map. Okay, it's this kind of reddish orange color here. Okay, it's the highest in the book right now. Therefore, well, you'll see when these numbers change here, and they're changing all the time, it's reflected in the heat map. So we're just graphically representing the order book here in your dome with a heat map. Okay, so the numbers change, the heat map changes. There you go. You see nice skew in the book right there. Look at that immediately. This is the advantage you're getting. Immediate skew in the book, and we see the buyers step in here, and they're trading up through these areas. Next area, let's see if we can get to 37 up here. Anyway, this all kind of erupted here due to the skew in the book. Okay, very quick move there. But we want to be aware of this kind of activity here. Anyway, the liquidity is recorded though. Okay, it's not just presented in this current market window. This is the advantage because we plotted on the chart historically. Okay, before, if you're looking at a dome, you'd be looking at these numbers, the numbers change, and that's it. You don't have any sort of record of what happened. Okay, we're recording it all. So now you can see where they're bidding and offering. So now you can zoom out, and as I noted earlier, you can zoom out and you can start to use the heat map or your depth of market on much higher time frames. So for example, this is from, let's see, it's about a half hour here. So well, it looks like it's about 8 o'clock here when I open my Bookmap. Okay, well, look at all this high liquidity up here. Okay, it's up near the figure here of 27.50, and we kind of test up into that high liquidity up here, but we don't find enough buyers to take it further and test into these guys up here. This is acting as resistance. Okay, there's not enough buying pressure to get up into these areas. So what happens? We fall back down and we start to look for areas of higher liquidity on the bid. Where do we go? Here's the high liquidity here. The first area was here. And this is actually kind of bullish here because you can see the breakout here, and you can see that they're supporting this at a higher level. But down here, just around 8 o'clock, this is where there is even more liquidity on the bid. And we've just come down into that area here just some minutes ago and tested into this area. Okay, and this is at this kind of 27 area here where we saw those 800 contracts. Okay, so there you go. Now we have context here in the heat map. We haven't even looked at the other elements on this chart, but we're starting to understand these areas of liquidity and how it has an effect on price. Okay, so where they're offering is up here, where they're bidding is down here. That's the auction. Okay, pretty straightforward stuff. And for a lot of traders out there, this is actually a kind of a new way of looking at the market. Because they might understand volume studies and all sorts of indicator studies and imbalances, etc., volume profiles and whatever, but they don't really or haven't accessed much data on the auction. Okay, and the auction is a really important part here. Okay, and that's what we're able to visualize for you so you can gain that advantage. All right, so that's the heat map. All right, now let's go over the other two elements on this chart. Okay, that's the best bid and offer and the volume dots. Okay, so let's zoom in again here. Okay, so you can see the best bid and offer here for the current market, and then it's just recorded here and goes back and forth. And that's it. It's just the best bid and offer. There's no sort of periodicity here of data. Okay, Bookmap doesn't have a time frame. It's just a best bid and offer consistently over time. All right, and let's zoom into an area so I can detail out these other two elements. And nice trade into high liquidity here. But let's just make it simple and look at this little area here. And we'll make the volume dot size bigger. Okay, so very, very simple, straightforward data. In fact, let's take off the heat map so we don't get distracted. Okay, all we're looking at here, in fact, I'll just even take off the volume dots just for the moment. All we're looking at is the best offer here is the red line, and the best bid is the green line. That's it. Okay, that's about as simple as you can get. Okay, now that's a lot simpler than looking at a candlestick chart, for example, because a candlestick chart, you have to understand the concept of it, what it's displaying you, how it's a periodicity, and then how to read it, which is kind of an art form in a lot of senses. But we're just showing best bid and offer. This is the auction, right? Now we're going to show you the transactions that have taken place on that best bid and offer. Okay, so we can look at these green dots here, and we can get the specific details here if you want to use this data tip tool. Hover over it, and you see this is for a volume of 1. You get the date, the time, and timestamp is very precise here. What was on the ask, and then the volume. Okay, now you look at this big dot here. It's for a volume of 48, but you can see it's both buying and selling in there in the pie display. Looks like about 2/3 of it is buying and about 1/3 of it is selling. Let's zoom into this little area right here. Now you can see what Bookmap is doing is pulling apart all of that data because we just visualized it as an aggregation. But we're showing you all the events here in Bookmap. Okay, every single market event is recorded, okay, from your data provider. So good data is going to make a difference here. Anyway, hover over this buy volume dot here, and you can see this is for a volume of 23. Let's see if that was one transaction or several transactions. Okay, it was actually several transactions. This is really what occurred. Now, on our time frame, we're at sub-second levels. Okay, we're looking at actually millions of seconds here, and this is really what occurred. Okay, so we came from this HFT environment, very precisely recording and getting the timestamps here for the data. Displaying it this way, though, is not very helpful on higher time frames, but we can zoom out. Okay, so this is an aggressive market buy order or several orders here. They crossed the spread and they paid up for it, and they took liquidity off of the best offer, and a green dot paints. Okay, market sell is the opposite, is the red dot. They take liquidity off of the best bid. Okay, now as we zoom out, see how we just aggregate that visually into a bigger dot. So that bigger dot gives you reference. The color and the size of the dot gives you reference to the other volume around it. Okay, and then if we continue to zoom out, we turn that into that pie display, and now you give reference, where you get the reference here to all of the other volume that has traded here. All right, so that's those two elements, the volume and the best bid and offer. Why is it an advantage to display it this way? Because you can see the structures. Okay, areas of consolidation, areas of breakout, areas where they're trending, etc. And you can start to understand now order flow in a very different way, because a footprint chart will not display this. A footprint chart is going to display it like on some sort of candlestick, okay, or bar. And you'll see the volume precisely displayed, but you won't have any sort of reference to really what unfolded and how it unfolded. Look at this big drop here. Okay, you're not going to see that in the footprint chart. Okay, and you're not going to see, you'll get the high volume node here for the selling in this area here. But now we have good reference here to really understand that the sellers came in, drove this price down, and then it consolidated here for a bit, and they drove it down again. Okay, usually looking for pullbacks to those areas where those sellers initiated those moves. And we get it here, and we also get it here. Okay, a little bit further on this one here, but anyway, we're starting to understand now context in the structure, okay, which is giving you a really good picture of what's going on in the market. It's all completely opaque here in the candlestick. You just don't get it because it's within a period that just goes back and forth, and then at the end of that period, the candlestick is painted. Okay, so that's the advantage of displaying it as best bid and offer and very precise volume. And that alone, I think you'll find very helpful compared to a footprint chart. Okay, so let's put the heat map back on. Let's take the candlesticks back off, because now we have that kind of clarity here in the volume and the price structures. But now we have the complete picture with the context of the liquidity and the auction. Okay, so we get the complete picture here and being able to understand these areas. So for example, when we started this webinar, we zoomed out. We started looking at the order flow. We zoomed out and we looked at these areas up here of very high liquidity. Okay, and you can hover over it with this data tip tool and see how it gives us the liquidity here. So it says like, oh, we were looking here, it was around 800 at one point, I think right in through here. Yeah, somewhere around there. But high liquidity here on the offer, and then on the bid at this area here, which was bullish, but they traded through it. And then this next area down here, okay, at this 27.27. Okay, now we've traded through that area. Okay, so let's zoom in here, and let's really understand what's going on here. Okay, we can zoom in here with the move tool, hover over it and zoom in. And we can note this liquidity, this high liquidity here, which was how many contracts? This was that 800, those 800 contracts, remember? Well, look what traded here. Okay, some of that pulled. Okay, it doesn't look like actually any of it pulled. Let's see here. No, some of it pulled. So about 623 of it traded. Okay, that's fact, right? So this liquidity here, a lot of traders will use their dome and they'll say, well, I don't really look at it that much because it's all fake liquidity. They don't have the intent to trade. And that's not true. They do. Here it is. Here's an example. They stayed in the book. They transacted. These larger players at this level here are long, the majority of them. Some of it pulled. Okay, but we continued to go back down into these areas as well. And you can see we're trading right into them, and we can see the number of the volume that traded. Okay, so now we're starting to know and note where larger players are starting to deal. Okay, it could be profit taking, it could be initiating new positions here, but regardless, they're buyers. And if there's more sellers than there are buyers, we'll continue to go lower. Okay, but if we continue to see more and more buyers starting to layer in at these levels here, what's going to happen at a certain point is that it's going to absorb all of that selling pressure. Okay? And then at a certain point, there's going to be buyers on the other side come in and lift the offer and search for high liquidity on the offer. Okay, where are those levels? Well, it's back up to where we dropped from here at 27.27. Okay, so let's see if we can get a test back up into there. All right, did we get enough absorption here? Maybe not. Maybe there's still more selling pressure and they'll hit the bid into these areas here. Okay, well, whatever the case is, we'll read it, we'll analyze it here, and that's what we do in the advanced order flow webinars here. So if you guys are signed up, we'll see you over there. Else, we'll catch up with you guys tomorrow for this webinar. Okay? All right, thanks guys. Bye-bye.